To be honest, this is probably the worst kept secret in the music industry. Okay, turn it off. That's all we can afford. What's going on, you guys? Steve here. And let's react to some more DJ content. This is Bro thinks he's headlining Coachella. He's at the dog park in Denver. What? Oh my god, he really is. I mean, I don't really understand what I just watched. I want to watch this again because it kind of sounded like one of the dogs barked to the beat. They did. One of the dogs went right on the beat. Like I've said before, we're starting to see DJs in all these abstract places because the market is flooded. It's oversaturated. There's a billion DJs. For the people in the comments who get triggered when I make statements like that, I'm not policing or gatekeeping who can or can't be a DJ, but it's just an objective fact that there's a bunch of DJs. I'm curious to know if they booked this or if this person just showed up with their gear and just started ripping. Is this a ploy to make content or get engagement, have people watching their stuff? I mean, it worked. I'm looking at it. This is really random. People should start paying attention to artists when the music is good, not when the followers increase. I mean, I say this every single day. This is literally the crux of everything I say on this channel. I'm pretty sure I say something like this in every single video I make, but it's true. I support this 1000%. I think people should support artists because they're genuinely cooking and not just because they have a bunch of clout and followers. I don't have too much more to add, but in a perfect world, people would support artists for the music and not for the gimmicks. I try to put that message out there all the time. There's always trolls in the comments saying, oh, you're complaining. No, not at all. I genuinely want people to support artists because they're cooking, not just because they're clip farming and just begging for attention on social media. We would get better music and things would just be in a way better state if people genuinely supported good music and people who are trying in positive spaces. If there's people out there who think I'm complaining for saying that, I mean, it says more about you than it does about me.
Okay, so I am not releasing my album on Spotify or any other major streaming service at that. Some may argue this might seem a bit insane, but this is the most exciting thing I've ever done in my music career. And honestly, man, my fans last night at my album release party made me feel even more confident about this decision. This is my album. This is the only way you can listen to it. And I'm not putting it on streaming services. You take this card, you plug it in your phone, and the music will be right there in your Files app. iPhone, Android, Mac, PC, any device that takes USB or USB-C, plug it in and listen. Plus, when you buy my album, you actually own it forever. You can listen to it without Wi-Fi, on a plane, on a train, and transfer the music to whatever device you prefer to listen to it on. You can even send the files to your friends, and now I'm not encouraging that because I'm trying to make a little bit of money here, but I can't stop you. And that's okay because you own the music.
First off, I want to say shout out to him. I will always have a baseline of respect for artists who are doing it on their own terms. They're trying to find their path and their lane. They're not trying to politic and beg the industry for permission. I will always dig that. I will always love to see that. That being said, he made this video as if this is a new innovative thing, and it's not. It's just not. I'm not being a hater, but I'm just stating a fact. This is not new. Artists have been pushing their music on USBs like this for over a decade, 15 plus years at this point. Again, I'm not hating, but this just comes off like Tim Cook trying to explain sliced bread at an Apple keynote. We're genuinely in the wild west of the music industry right now. Both artists and the industry are trying to figure out how to maneuver all these unknown variables, how to monetize things, the most effective ways to market stuff. It's kind of scary, but it's interesting. Yeah, again, shout out to him. This is super creative. I personally do not put my music on Spotify. I just don't respect their streaming model. I think it's pretty predatory for people like me, people like most of you watching this video. It's very anti-creator, and I don't support that. My EP Isolation 2 is an exclusive on YouTube Music and SoundCloud. So yeah, this is dope. Power to the creators.
Hit records don't just happen. It's not about people spontaneously loving your music. Hit records happen because somebody paid to make it a hit. The record industry knows that if something appears hot, then people will be interested, and then maybe it will become hot. It's the same math they used when they were like, hey, make sure there's a big line outside the club so people passing will be like, oh my God, it's hard to get in there. It must be really good in there. Payola is so deeply embedded in the music industry that you can't even see it anymore. But if a record blows up at radio or on Spotify as far as Spotify playlists, that's because somebody paid for it to be in that slot. You don't end up on Rap Caviar or any of these major official Spotify, Apple Music playlists because somebody likes the way the record sounds. They gotta like the record to some extent, but the music industry, the labels are paying for those slots. There's no organic success. It takes about $250,000 to make a record look like a hit at radio. To dominate Spotify playlists, that's a whole nother check. They want to create the illusion of demand, but it's an illusion. The Billboard chart, the radio, Spotify playlist, none of this is an organic reflection of what people really feel about these records. This is all bought and paid for.
To be honest, this is probably the worst kept secret in the music industry. Everybody knows that people can buy hits, you can pay for marketing, push stuff on playlists, push stuff out into the media to just get the numbers up. People fake the numbers, people fake the followers. They fake the streams. Just because something appears super viral doesn't mean that it organically got there. It doesn't mean that everybody who sees it likes it. There's a bunch of stuff that pulls a bunch of streams, a bunch of views, and people hate it. People think it's trash. It's interesting that people always conflate big numbers with quality, both casual fans and the industry. Something else I observed with this video is he's touching on social proof. He touched on the industry boosting numbers so things appear more valuable to the casual fans, and that's true. It's a thing. He also brought up the fact that clubs like to put the lines outside so that people on the street can see, oh snap, there's a bunch of people trying to get in there. It must be good. It's a thing. It's 100% a thing. Whether people want to acknowledge this or not, a bunch of your choices, a bunch of your decisions, the reasons why you like things and hate things, they're inspired by others. The degrees of that may vary, but we are influenced by the people around us. This isn't necessarily new information, but yeah, I'd say this is the worst kept secret in the music industry. Just because things are going viral, just because they have stupid numbers doesn't mean they organically got there. Doesn't mean it's better than other things. What destroyed the club scene from last as it transitioned from millennials to Gen Z? Oh boy, this is very loaded. I'm going to oversimplify this just for the sake of not making this a 2-hour rant. I would say one of the biggest factors is the pandemic. Plain and simple. When the pandemic hit and things shut down for a year or for however long you decided to stay inside, things were very different when we came back outside. I noticed the biggest change in society with nightlife. For those of you who may be new to the channel, I was an open format club DJ for about a decade. I stopped taking open format gigs shortly after the pandemic. When I went back to club DJing after the pandemic, I noticed that crowds were almost 100% 21-year-olds. Not 24, not 27, not mixes of everything, just 21-year-olds. I noticed that the overwhelming majority of people were entering bars and clubs for the very first time. It honestly reminded me of high school on the first day. You see all the freshmen walking around and they genuinely look confused. They look kind of scared and timid. They look very unsure. There were people asking me where the bar was. They were asking where the bathroom was. There were people asking how they go about making song requests. I have grace and empathy for Gen Z because previous generations didn't have to experience that. When people turned 21 and they went out to the bars and clubs, they were typically the only people in the room who were 21. They looked at everybody else around them, their friend group, their family, their older siblings. Whoever took them out would put them on game and show them, hey, this is how you do things. You sit here, you open or close your tab. This is how you maneuver this. This is how you talk to people, blah, blah, blah. They figured it out by watching other people. When the pandemic hit, it was a bunch of clueless 21-year-olds trying to figure out the scene for themselves. They rewrote the rules and they did it themselves. Nobody told them how to maneuver stuff. They were just hucking it. Honestly, that's why I think DJing right after the pandemic felt like high school. We had a whole generation of young people that went straight from high school into the bars and clubs. You could kind of feel that immaturity, for me anyways. You guys let me know what you think in the comments, but to oversimplify it, I would say the pandemic created that shift between the generations.
What? What is this? What are we doing? What in God's name are we doing? What? Our lives. What kind of lives are these?
Honestly, I feel that. The music industry values social media, creating content, having an online following. There's really no way around it. In this climate, if you aspire to move up the ranks of the music industry, you have to create content. You have to have a presence on these apps. I'm not super crazy about it, as I say all the time. At the top of the video, I literally said that I think people should support artists because they're genuinely cooking and not just because they have a bunch of clout and followers. But that's how it is. You have to make content. You have to be on these apps. I still think the music should matter most. That should be top priority. Pushing good artists, making good songs. but these apps matter. Let's check out the comments. This person said, force, go get a job and do music as a hobby. See, I can't stand people who say this. For whatever reason, when people call out the music industry, the knee-jerk response is to say, oh, you should do it as a hobby anyways. How dare you try to aspire to be a professional musician? I've said this before, but I'll never understand why people stigmatize pursuing music as a career. Like if you aspire to tour and travel the world and share your music with people, somehow it's less pure than just jamming in your garage. It's very strange. Are you physically being chained to a smartphone? Are you forced to live in a content house and just farm a bunch of cringy reels? No, obviously not. But the industry does value content. Ever since the pandemic, I don't think I've been asked for music or a demo mix once from somebody in the industry. Most people just ask for my Instagram, TikTok, any type of social media I have. So yeah, this guy's just yapping.
The music industry is in complete shambles right now, and you can use that to your advantage. Back in the day, the music industry was very algorithmic, as any other industry was, but that industry was controlled to a certain extent. Now that we are in the digital streaming age, there is no control over the algorithm, and it is stressing people the out, myself included. I dropped a mixtape over the summer. I had SZA and Doja Cat on it, and I just dropped the deluxe to my mixtape today. And yet there are still people who don't even know I dropped music. Every major artist from Lady Gaga to Drake has dropped albums this year, and yet everyone is saying there's no song of the summer. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. It's not because the music isn't incredible. It's because the way that the algorithm is set up, no one can serve the masses anymore. This industry used to be based on serving the masses. Basically like servicing your song out to certain channels and certain radio stations. The internet space wasn't so congested. There was a clear channel back in the day for major artists to put their music out and serve the masses. Now you have to serve your people. Because with this algorithm, just putting your music out 9 times out of 10 is not even going to reach your fan base. Think about the way this TikTok algorithm works. Look how many followers I have. Look how many followers you have. And when you post a video, how many of your followers actually see your video? Not that many, right? Because even though someone is following you, it's not guaranteed that they're going to see you on their FYP. And everyone uses their FYP. And TikTok knows that. So for new artists, this is actually incredible news. You, now more than ever, have an advantage.
She's spot on. This isn't up for debate or negotiation. If you don't like pop music, mainstream music, cool, good for you. I'm not going to sit here and argue about somebody's personal taste. But it is true. The main issue with music right now isn't so much the quality, it's the way we digest it. I've said this before, but if you're not following an artist, you're not going to know what the heck they have going on. For example, if you don't follow Chance the Rapper on Instagram, you're going to be like, man, I wonder what Chance the Rapper is doing. I haven't heard a song from him in like 5 years. And then you look at his Instagram and the guy's been traveling the world, dropping music left and right. It's not like the days of radio where everybody listened to the same 20 songs. I always get people trying to argue about this, but it's true. The way we digest music has made it very difficult for everybody to unanimously be familiar with music. Even in the comments of this video, there's people trying to argue with her. What are you talking about? There's a song of the summer. This person dropped, and my favorite artist is this person, and they made this, and they made this.
It's all y'all's fault. Y'all messed up the family. Can't you see that?
The fact that everybody in the comments is trying to argue about, no, my favorite artist is better than yours, and they're dropping bangers, that proves her point. Nobody's listening to the same stuff. But yeah, this conversation always comes up and I can't stand it because people are always arguing, oh, my favorite artist is popping. That's cool. If you like them, great. But the rest of the world isn't listening to them. The rest of the world isn't following them on TikTok and Instagram. So they don't know. And that's the problem. Back when everybody was watching the same 50 TV channels, listening to the same 5 radio stations, we knew all the music. That's why so many DJs revert back to those familiar throwbacks. It's not as big of a dice roll playing older tracks. Okay, we are back with another subscriber poll. So I asked my subscribers, what's your go-to music genre? It looks like almost 50% of you guys said that you're house DJs. I'm actually tripping on how many drum and bass DJs there are here. There were a good amount of DJs in the comments saying they play all of these genres and more, which I think is pretty cool. I play mostly house and bass sets nowadays. But I'm open to anything. I'm not super well versed on drum and bass or techno, so you guys in the comments drop some bangers, put me on. Yeah, this is really cool. I guess that's all I got for this one. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. As always, I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.